The Prime Minister receives a warm welcome in a PLP stronghold this morning.
Fox Hill! You do my heart good this morning.
Thousands show up for the PLP's mass rally last night, but violence marred the political gathering. Plus, electoral observers talk about their role during Monday's election.
We are going to be there at the opening of the polls. We are going to be there while the votes are being casted.
I'm Nikia DeVoe, and this is NB12 Weekend. Spending your Saturday evening with us. Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham and the Free National Movement took to the streets of Fox Hill this morning in hopes of winning over voters in that progressive Liberal Party stronghold. The Prime Minister was part of a large motorcade that started at the Fnm's Fox Hill constituency office, snaked through the constituency and ended up at the Fox Hill roundabout.
Fox Hill! You do my heart good this morning.
The Prime Minister traveled through the community on the back of a pickup truck where he waved to and greeted residents. Along with him was Fox Hill candidate Chanel Ferguson and St. Anne's candidate Hubert Chipman. Fnm supporters came out of their homes and even churches adorned in Fnm t-shirts, waving flags and pom-poms, joining in the singing and dancing and to greet the party leader. Mr. Ingraham said the amount of support he received from Fox Hillians was reassuring, and he told us how he felt about the reception.
Fox Hill surpassed my most optimistic expectation. They are enthusiastic, they are energized, they are ready to vote. They've determined they want Chanel Ferguson to be their MP, and that Fred Mitchell will spend his last 2 days as a member of the House of Assembly. Here's
what the Prime Minister had to say when NB12 asked him what the difference was between his welcome today and the last time he campaigned in Fox Hill before the 2007 general election.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison. The energy level in Fox Hill, the support level in Fox Hill surpasses anything that we've seen in Fox Hill since we first won this seat in the 90s.
But Mr. Ingram's welcome did not come without opposition. There was a group of PLP supporters waiting for the large Fnm motorcade at the Fox Hill roundabout. But the Prime Minister seemed unfazed by their chants and protests. In fact, Ingraham smiled and waved at the PLP supporters.
We're going to sweep the PLP away. We've been in the Family Islands, we've been in Nassau, we've been in Grand Bahama. You can see they're scared. They're following me all over the place. All over the place they're following me. They can't lead.
The Prime Minister left Fox Hill and headed straight to the airport for his whirlwind tour, where he visited San Salvador, Cat Island, Eleuthera, the Berry Islands and Grand Bahama before returning to Nassau for a mass rally at Clifford Park tonight. The Progressive Liberal Party's gold rush continued last night as supporters packed Clifford Park. Juan McCartney tells us about the message the opposition delivered.
Though the Fnm is preparing for its mass rally here at Clifford Park tonight, last night PLP leader Perry Christie expressed confidence that his party would be victorious in Monday's polls. So much so that he invited Gold Rush supporters to come back here for a victory rally 11 o'clock that night.
As thousands turned out to Clifford Park to hear the PLP leader speak at the party's penultimate rally, Christie said he believes the nation will upset the Fnm and return the former Prime Minister to power. However, he urged supporters not to get overconfident.
Do not let's take it for granted, even though it's that close. We must not let up. We must give up. We must not give in. We must keep on marching forward resolutely to the finish line, so when the day, Monday, comes, the Bahamas and the world will know that the PLP is victory. Victory for the PLP.
Earlier in the campaign, Christie, much like Prime Minister Ingraham, dismissed the Democratic National Alliance. But the PLP leader has been mentioning the Green Party more and more in his speeches lately. Last night, Christie told supporters not to take any chances, even if they are hungry for something new.
I know you know that the DA the DNA cannot win. The DNA isn't going to win. And no matter how much we try to will that on, the DNA cannot win this election. So what we need to do is to make sure you don't use your vote as a protest and end up with 5 more years of a government that doesn't believe in you. I know you do not want that to happen.
Last night, Christie also hammered home familiar themes like the high rate of violent crime, the high rate of unemployment, and the alleged special interest in foreigners the party claims the Fnm caters to. Christie said 5 more years of Hubert Ingram and the Fnm would spell disaster for the country.
What would it feel like to wake up on May the 8th and think that the government, which gave hundreds of millions of dollars in contract to foreigners, was just given the green light to do it again? Does that make sense to you? Have you had enough of them? Are you prepared to vote them out? I hear you. Are you prepared to vote them out? Well, let's vote for change. Imagine you waking up on May the 8th and you have lifted up this new generation of leaders I have around me. Imagine them working for you. You know they will put Bahamians first. You know we will bring people together. You know we will fight crime effectively. We will create jobs.
Predictions aside, none of the party leaders really know who's going to win Monday night, but you can keep track by tuning into Decision 2012 starting at 6 p.m. on election night right here on Cable 12. Reporting for NB12, I'm Juan McCartney.
Well, at some points during the packed PLP event, some members of the crowd got out of hand. Many PLP supporters were seen fleeing in all directions during separate incidents on Clifford Park last night. Police rushed to intervene as bottles flew over the crowd and young men got into different altercations before and during Christie's speech. Police confirmed in a crime report today that several stabbing incidents occurred on and around Clifford Park between the hours of 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. However, they did not release many more detail than that. NB12 witnessed 2 ambulances responding to the fights on the park, and police had to clear the area so that the EMS vehicles could leave the scene. Officers are also investigating 2 separate stabbing incidents at Marcus Bethel Way around the same time that have left 2 men in hospital in stable condition. An 18-year-old man of Peardale was stabbed to the back shortly after 11 p.m. and just after 12 a.m. a 28-year-old man of Claridge Road was stabbed to the back. The PLP will be at R.M. Bailey Park for its last mass rally before Monday's election. The Democratic National Alliance will hold its last rally for change at the Western Esplanade tonight, and as we mentioned earlier, the Fnm will be at Clifford Park. Well, earlier this week, international monitors from the Organization of American States arrived in the Bahamas to oversee the May 7th general election. The OAS team hit the ground running, gathering as much information as possible before the big showdown on Monday. Christina McNeil spoke to the OAS chief of mission and filed this report.
The 11-member OAS team has already met with several government officials since arriving in the capital on Monday, including Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel and Minister of Foreign Affairs Brent Simonet. Chief of Mission Alfonso Quiñones says his team has also met with the key players in the upcoming election, the political parties. Quiñones explains what his team will be doing in the run-up to Monday's election.
We are going to continue engaging the different stakeholders. We are also going to be participating or witnessing some of the rallies that are going to be taking place. On Monday, which is the day of the elections, we are going to be very active. We are going to be there at the opening of the polls. We are going to be there while the votes are being casted, and we are also going to be there at the closing and when the votes are counted.
This is the first time in Bahamian history that international election observers will monitor local elections. The OAS mission team has monitored elections in 166 countries in the Americas and 13 Caribbean countries. Quiñones says the OAS mission will include observing the different actions and activities that are part of the electoral process. The OAS team will be in the Bahamas at least until Tuesday, when a preliminary report will be prepared.
We issue a report on that would include our observations, but also may include some recommendations to see how to continue strengthening this long-standing democratic tradition that you have here at the Bahamas.
Although stationed in New Providence, the OAS team will also travel to Grand Bahama and other family islands to see how the process is done. Quinones says his team has already made several observations about the local electoral process. He says, first of all, the Bahamas has a very high voter turnout rate of more than 90%, considered high for a country in which voting is not mandatory. He says that speaks highly of the confidence in the electoral process.
Another element that is striking is how lively and how engaging the campaigns and the process is. So that is in itself a very important part of what we observe. But we also, as no election is perfect, we also receive complaints or issues. One thing that is very important to understand is that we are not here to substitute any of the institutions of the Bahamas, and we are not here to serve as referees either.
After the preliminary report is prepared, it will be sent to the OAS board for review by its member states before being issued to the Parliamentary Registration Department within approximately 3 weeks. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Well, our team will be bringing you live coverage of the 2012 general election results. Tune in here on Cable 12 Monday night at 6 p.m. for Decision 2012 as we bring you team coverage of the action and the results as they come in.